Today we're going to answer the question, how do I configure activity types in 7-Pace Timetracker? Activity types allow you to categorize every work log or track of time by an activity type. These can be anything you want them to be, such as requirements, testing, design, documentation, development, meeting, or even vacation. Once added, activity types will display throughout the 7-Pace Timetracker UI and reports. Before we begin, please note that 7-Pace Timetracker activity types are separate from and do not synchronize with those found in Azure DevOps. To set up your own activity types in 7-Pace Timetracker, go to the Settings page and select Activity Types. First, you have to click on the Enable Activity Type feature button. Doing this will populate any previously added activity types. The All Users Can Change Activity Type for Everyone in Times Explorer button also displays. We'll come back to this shortly. With activity types enabled in settings, you'll notice this feature will be added throughout the 7-Pace Timetracker UI. An activity type drop-down selection list displays on the Add Time dialog box when you add time on the monthly, timesheet, or Times Explorer pages, and within the Work Item 7-Pace Timetracker tab's Add Time feature. Let me show you. For this example, I'll select a work item I was previously tracking on within the web tracker that's found at the top of each 7-Pace Timetracker page. If I click on the Add Time button, I can now see a field has been added for activity types. If I click on the 7-Pace Timetracker tab, I'll also see a section that displays a breakdown of activity types. If I go to the monthly page, you can now see the corresponding activity type colors on each calendar day. And an activity type column is added in the Time Details panel when you click on a specific day. If I go to the timesheet page and I click on a table cell, I'll see that a column has been added for activity types within the list editor. If I go to the Times Explorer page and I click on Column Options, activity type now displays as a selection now. Similarly, if I click on Single or Multiple Work Logs within the Times Explorer grid, Change Activity Type is now an option. Now let me show you how to add an activity type. Let's go back to Settings, Activity Types. Click on Add Activity Type. Type in the name of your new activity type. Choose a color from the color spectrum to represent your new activity type. And you'll see that there is a default button. As an administrator, clicking the default checkbox makes that activity type the default choice throughout 7-Pace Timetracker for your users, unless they personally choose a favorite activity type in their own activity type settings. That always overrides the system default set by an admin. I'm going to click Save. Now you can also update this by clicking the default radio button next to any existing activity type, but this column will be grayed out for non-admin users. Okay, so I've made Leah activity type the default selection. Good. uncheck this to make sure that there's no favorites added. It's just Leah activity type is the default. Now, if I go to the monthly page and I click on Add Time, you'll see that Leah activity type is the default selection in that field. Let's go back to activity type settings. And I'm now going to make a different activity type my favorite by clicking on the star icon. Let's choose documentation. Now, if I go back to the monthly page and I click on Add Time again, this new favorite activity type is the default. Let's circle back to allowing all users to change the activity type for everyone on the Times Explorer page. By default, you can edit all work logs added by you, but you cannot edit time that was added by other users unless under Settings, Rules, you select a user that can add time for others. You can see that right here. And this is already set to off. So if I go to the Times Explorer page, you're going to see that I can't edit any work logs that aren't my own. The edit and delete icons are disabled. But if I select a work log that isn't mine and then click on Change Activity Type, you'll see 0 of 3 selected rows were successfully updated. This means that no rows were updated when I tried to change the activity type. But now, if I go back to Settings, click on Activity Types, and I enable all users can change activity type for everyone in Times Explorer. If I now go back to the Times Explorer page and repeat the same steps, so I'm going to choose 3 work logs that are not my own, and I'm going to change the activity type to digital marketing. 3 of 3 selected rows were successfully updated. So now I know I've been able to successfully update those activity types. Keep in mind that this only works on the Times Explorer page. If you ever need to edit or delete an activity type, you can just go back to the Settings, Activity Types, and you can hover over any of the activity types, and you'll see an edit and a delete icon next to each activity type. Thank you for using 7-Pace Time Tracker.